Bleacher Report is drinking the bleach again.
Yeah, let's talk about this, man. Was this Bleacher Report? Okay, it was Bleacher Report. Top guards under 25. Their list: Luka, Anthony Edwards, Ja Morant, Tyrese Halliburton, LaMelo Ball, Darius Garland, Scoot Henderson, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Williams, and Josh Giddey. I cannot argue with the top two names, Luka and Anthony Edwards. They should be 1 and 2. I don't think you can make an argument for anybody else on this list being ahead of those two guys. But I think what you can make an argument for number 3 on down to number 10. But what were your initial thoughts when you saw this list?
So for people that don't know what we're talking about, Bleacher Report came out with a top NBA guards under the age of 25 years old. And Lance has named them off 1 through 10. But if you guys weren't paying attention or listening, Luka was 1, Anthony Edwards was 2, Ja Morant was 3, Tyrese Halliburton was number 4, LaMelo Ball 5, Darius Garland 6, Scoot Henderson 7, Cade Cunningham 8, Jalen Williams 9, and Josh Giddey 10. My reaction and my only problem with this list was I don't understand how LaMelo Ball is number 5 and he missed a lot of games last season. How Cade Cunningham's 8. I don't understand that.
I mean, do you really think that Ja Morant has a higher ceiling than all of these guys?
I think if you're looking at just the player he is, the type of numbers he puts up, I do feel like the top 3 I don't have a problem with. My only problem is 5 through 10.
Do you feel like LaMelo should be higher or lower?
I think he should be lower personally. I don't have a problem with Halliburton being a 4 because he's a great player. I think there's a debate with Scoot Henderson right now.
Okay, so how are we looking at the list? Says NBA guards under 25 with the highest ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at it with just as in like just highest ceilings, or are you looking at it as the players they are today and what they did last year?
I'm looking at the ceilings. Like, I don't honestly believe LaMelo Ball has a higher ceiling than Cade Cunningham right now.
See, I think LaMelo should probably be number 3 if we're just talking about high ceilings, because I feel like there's still so much more to his game, and we haven't seen it all yet. I feel like he has a higher ceiling than Ja Morant. I feel like Ja Morant is at the ceiling right now. I don't know. I mean, unless he develops a 3-point shot, because only shot 30%, I just don't see how Ja Morant continues to climb. And you have, I think Tyrese Halliburton can get better. I think he has a higher ceiling. So my problem is really just with 3. I think LaMelo at 5 is too low. I think Cade at 8 is he should be higher because he's a 6'6" point guard. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things we were just talking about at the beginning of the podcast. And he's coming back from an injury. The jump shot looks smooth. He's using his size in the post. I don't know how much more room for growth there is for Darius Garland either, because he's a shorter guard. I don't see how you can put shorter athletic guards ahead of bigger jumbo guards, you know? Because if we look back, like shorter athletic guards, they have, some of them have high peaks, but they're not really none of these guys I feel like are going to reinvent the wheel when it comes to guard play in the NBA.
I am not high on LaMelo Ball. I would have him like 9.
Okay.
I'm just not high on him as a player. He's an inefficient scorer. He had flashy plays with Miles Bridges. You saw he didn't have Miles Bridges last year, and they weren't a playoff team. Granted, he was injured, but I'm just not high on LaMelo Ball as a player with his ceiling. I'm just not. I think 5 was generous by Bleacher Report. It was really generous. I think he should be at a lower tier. I'm higher on Darius Garland as a point guard, as a guard, than LaMelo Ball, because Darius Garland showed me last year that he can be a top point guard, a top 10 point guard in the NBA. I think the Scoot Henderson hype is hype. We have to wait and see what's there. If he develops a consistent 3-point shot, yes, he could. You could put him in this top 5, but I think it's premature to put him in a top list already. But I would switch Cade Cunningham with LaMelo Ball. I really would. I think Cade has a ceiling that we haven't really seen him reach what he's actually capable of. I think he's just scratching the surface. And I think players like LaMelo Ball, yeah, they come out and they have a triple double and he's shooting 25% from the field. Like LaMelo Ball to me, I think if you're a box score watcher, it looks great. But if you actually watch the games, you'll know that he's a really inefficient scorer. He's a poor defender, and he just makes those flashes ESPN passes. Like I don't really understand why uh, you're not as high on John Morant as you are on LaMelo Ball. Is it the height? Is it maybe you kind of fall into like this highlight culture where you kind of see LaMelo Ball make these fancy passes and stuff like that? Like I want to know personally why you would have John Morant or LaMelo Ball over John Morant. I'm really curious.
Well, I just think because of the ceiling factor. I mean, like I just feel like there's more to there's more growth for LaMelo than there is John Morant. I feel like John Morant, like we're seeing the best of him right now. I don't know how much higher he can climb, but I feel like with LaMelo Ball, I mean, he shot 38% from three this past year, 84% from the line, only 41% from the field, but 23, 8, and 6 with one steal per game. Like, I still feel like as a scorer and as a playmaker, there's more room for LaMelo's game than there is John Morant's. Like, if John Morant became a better three-point shooter, sure, but I just don't know. I just feel like he's at his ceiling. So I would actually drop John Morant a little bit. And I mean, same with Darius Garland. Again, like he's a 6'1" point guard. He had a great last season, but how much higher can he climb being an undersized guard? At least when you have height, there are different facets to your game that you can add, like becoming a post player, operating in the mid range. But when you're shorter, like you can do some things, but I feel like you're more limited. So that's why I don't know why they're higher on the list than some of these other guys.
Yeah, I'm just not hell high on LaMelo Ball. I really haven't. Um, I just think Cade was very. I don't think he was ranked properly, and I think a lot of people agree. I think a lot of people are like, "Well, where's Trae Young on this list? He's not on this list. He's under 25." There are some people that were under 25 that weren't on this list, and I think when you look, even Josh Giddey to me, I thought was just really low on this list for the type of season that he had last year. I thought Josh Giddey. I mean, if you look at Josh Giddey and you look at LaMelo Ball, they put up very similar stats. Very similar stats.
Oh, I love Josh Giddey too. Um, well, Trae Young, he's almost 25 years old. I think they just did this for 25 heading in. It's kind of crazy that Luka is, man, he's been playing for a while and he's still under the age of 25. That is crazy. And you still see more room for him. And like, same with Anthony Edwards. I just don't see a higher ceiling for John Morant. I think where he's at. I think I'd be okay with LaMelo still being at 5, but I would rather I agree with you. Cade Cunningham should be moved up a little bit further, a little bit higher than 8th as well. But I don't know. I just have a problem with John, Darius Garland. I like their games. I just think there's only so much more they can do just because I mean, height does play a huge factor for me. I feel like, I don't think either of these guys are going to start shooting it like Steph Curry does, but dude, they're 6'1" and 6'2". Like, how much higher can they get as players? Like, I got to stop like leaning so much more on their height. But
well, you answer my question though. You're looking at the height.
Yeah, but, no, I am because I do think like just a guy that's 6'7" or 6'6" playing the point guard position, they're naturally just going to have a higher ceiling than someone that's 6'1", just because you could do more things as a player because of your height.